Let's call it AVAX, right? Like this is what most people
Yeah.
call it. Otherwise, it gets a bit confusing. Avalanche is a consensus algorithm, and just like Nakamoto consensus is, and just like you have many blockchain that use Nakamoto consensus, like Bitcoin,
Yeah.
Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Dash, and a bunch of others, they use the Nakamoto consensus.
Monero. Yeah.
Monero as well, yes.
Yeah.
Um, well, Avalanche is another consensus algorithm, and
Yeah.
in the same way, you can build several systems that leverage that consensus algorithm. And AVAX is one of them, probably the first one I think that used that system. And we are probably the second one to leverage it. So the main difference with AVAX is that AVAX, they use exclusively the Avalanche consensus algorithm. And it comes with some trade-off, notably that you cannot have a trustless bootstrap, right? You need to have some trusted party that tells you, hey, here is what the state of the system is right now. And then you can continue to operate in a decentralized and trustless manner, but you cannot bootstrap yourself in a trusted manner in that network. There are also problem with liveness. So when the network made a decision, you have no track record because you don't have a blockchain in the traditional sense, like you have with Bitcoin that is protected by proof of work. And so you cannot go over all that history and verify that, the consensus algorithm was run adequately over time. You just have to trust, like if you are not there live participating in it, you need to trust that everybody is doing the right thing. You don't really have a way to verify that. So we're not so happy with making that trade-off, and so we decided to just not making it at all. Right, like eCash is still a derivative of Bitcoin. It still have the Nakamoto consensus algorithm in it,
Yeah.
and it provide all those property that you can bootstrap in a trustless manner by following the longest chain and all those stuff probably people are already familiar with. But
Yeah.
we use Avalanche to provide an extra layer on top of it that provide additional feature, right? So actually you can connect to the eCash network and completely ignore the Avalanche part of it, and you're gonna get properties that are similar to Bitcoin. But if you decide to run like a more modern client that understands the Avalanche consensus, then you get finalities for your block. And when we get there, you're gonna get finality for your transactions.
Yeah. That'd be amazing. I think, the finality for transactions is really what the end user experiences as well as the
Mm-hmm.
retail merchant, right? I mean, that's what they really care about to build out this peer-to-peer electronic cash system, which yeah.
Yeah, it's the more important one. And something that is interesting is that it's not so much more difficult than doing it for block. It's like roughly the same thing. The main difference is volume,
Yeah.
right? You have one block every 10 minutes. So because you just have one block every 10 minutes, then there are a bunch of factors that don't enter into the equation. Like, what if someone starts submitting millions of transactions, or do you under the load and all of that? Well, someone is not going to submit millions of blocks because they are expensive to produce. So there
Yeah.
is, part of the design space is simpler when you do it on blocks, and this is why we started doing that. But essentially, this is the same problem on transactions. Just there's a question of volume additionally. So it
Yeah.
shouldn't take the same kind of it shouldn't take as long as it did
It's the
for.
same heavy lifting.
Yeah, it's much, let's say it's much easier to go from doing it on block to do it on block and transaction than it is to not doing it and go do it on blocks.